Yeah, let's start at 10:30 night here.
Oh, yeah. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is module 2, and today we are going to study about how these large language models can be used in consumer applications. Okay. So, what we are going to study today? First of all, the large language model APIs. We will learn how to access these LLMs in order to access these LLMs efficiently without needing to download. So we did one demo in the last class where we used Plenty 5 model from Hugging Face. At that point of time, you must have seen when we are using those models, it basically downloads the model itself. It will download the weights and other configuration files into your local machine. And then we were able to inference that model. But the another efficient way is because that model was small, that was light, we were able to download. But these days the models are like uh, you know 4 billion parameter models, 70 billion parameter models, 200 billion, 400 billion parameter models. So the model sizes have become so large that you actually cannot download them and you cannot inference them with your local hardware and machine. So today we will learn how we can use large language model APIs, okay, to call or to invoke these models to inference these models. So they will be hosted at some other place, some on some other servers, and we will just use their APIs to call them without needing to download the model each time. Okay, so that's the first thing we are going to study. Second is what are message based APIs. Okay, so we will study there is something called as whatever the APIs which we will use, they will send our request in the form of messages. So we will study in detail where we started and why we started now, why we changed the earlier conventions and why we started using message based APIs. Okay, and then in the end we will have a look what is a framework and why do we actually need to use any framework like LangChain or Llama Index. Okay, so this is in short the agenda for today. Okay, so now let's start with couple of use cases of these large language models. So we have already seen what is a large language model, how it is different from other models, how it is being trained, and how it generates the or I mean predicts the next token for its completion. Okay, so now having said this is how the large language model works, now we will try to see how we can use LLM in our application. Okay, what are the different use cases where this can be used? Also, I think I have told you that the Chat GPT is an application, and the model which is running behind this application is actually is a large language model. People get confused. They say Chat GPT is a model itself. So it's not a model. It's an full-fledged application which uses the large language models in the backend as a service. Similarly, what we can do is we can see this is called the Chat GPT. This is called your Claude Chat. This is your Mistral Chat, Lee Chat Mistral. So what are these? These are basically applications which are using the large language models in the backend. For example, this Chat GPT can use Turbo 3.5 model. It can use Foro model. It can use now there is Oven model, right, and O3 as well. So these models can be inferenced in the back end, and on the front end, you will have the ChatGPT or any web application. Similarly, Claude. Claude is basically founded by the people who left OpenAI. Okay, so there was a co-founder of OpenAI who left OpenAI and he started its own company, which is called as the Claude. And I think yesterday he left after 5 months, he left Claude as well. Okay, so that is one thing. So Similarly, the Claude chat is the web interface and it uses the Claude models in the backend. Claude models like I don't remember the name of the models. And similarly, we have something called as the Lee chat or Liu chat from Mistral. So what I want you guys to do is after this session, you just go and try to see how their chat interface is there. Okay, just try to explore different things so that these terms get familiar with you. What is Claude? What is Mistral? Because once you are into this Gen AI industry, you will be hearing all these names. Quite often. Okay, so the from the use cases point of view, we can create chatbots and the virtual assistant. So what is a chatbot? Chatbot is so this is the domain where mostly this is the use case which is there in the industry. So what do you mean by chatbot? It basically automates customer service and support, providing 24 by 7 availability and quick response time. So what we will do is we can create some chatbots. So the user, instead of calling the customer service executive or some human being, what they can do is they can interact with some chat interface, and that chat interface or that chat application will be as good as the user is talking to a customer executive. Okay, so this is the place where most of the use cases are being implemented in the industry. So what they want to do is they want to reduce the workforce who is who is working at the front end as an customer care executive, and they are getting replaced by these chatbots. Okay, and the best thing about these chatbots is they don't get tired, right? They have access to your content. So whatever question you ask, let's say I'm chat, I want to raise any ticket or my concern, or I have a query for my Airtel account, right? I am using Airtel services. Maybe I have a broadband and I am also using its SIM, right? So what I can do is I can open the chatbot for Airtel, and then that chatbot will have access to all my billing information, what was my last bill, what is my current plan, and all those things. So as I ask any question, my question will be analyzed, and they can use large language model to look into to understand that question, and it will delve into my own data. It will see what was the last bill, whether the bill was more than expected, if there is any delay penalty or not. So it will curate that particular information which is pertaining to me, and then it will be able to give me the answer. Okay, second way to look at it, like let's say the customer executive is not replaced, rather he will internally use LLM to to get the answers of the user's question. So I will call a human being, and that human being will basically use LLM to get the information of the customer, right? So there will be a vector database where the user information, his bills and everything is available. That customer care executive who was earlier taking 5 minutes or so, because he used to log into its portal, he will search the user's phone number, and then he will get some bills, he will open those bills, and he will try to analyze the entire summary. And then the user, that customer care executive, will open another bill to compare what is the difference between these two bills. Okay, there is a delay penalty, so he will resolve that query. So now all these things have been automated. You just write your question, your large language model will do the heavy lifting. It will compare the last two bills, and it will give you the reply that okay, last time your payment was delayed, so we have put 100 rupees as the delay penalty. So this is just a very high level example how the industry is using large language models in building those chatbots. Okay, there is something called as the virtual assistants, which are, very more sophisticated than the chatbots. The chatbot is something, you are putting some question to the LLM, and LLM is giving response. Virtual assistants have more access to your data, offer personalized assistance, managing tasks such as scheduling, reminders, and email management, interacting with the other tools. So in case of virtual assistant, your application is also having access to couple of tools which can be used to accomplish a couple of tasks. Let's say you want to send a reminder, you have to send an email. So the application, the assistant will be designed in such a way that it will be able to access your Gmail, and it will be able to send the email as well. So these are more sophisticated applications. Okay. So all in all, the first use case is that we have been using LLM most of the times in the chatbots and in the virtual assistants. Second is content creation and curation. So what does that mean? If we need to generate some content, like automatically generate articles, blog posts, social media, so you can design the application in such a way. Let's say I have a Wikipedia article, and with the help of that, if I want to create one blog post, so I can design my pipeline. The Wikipedia article will be taken from the Wikipedia. It will be cleaned, it will be summarized, it will be changed into your blog, and then it will be posted. So what you can do is you can create those kind of pipelines to automate your things. Content curation is also on the same lines, recommend and summarize content. So if you give a large content, it can summarize it, and it can help in summarization basically. So these are a couple of applications. So we talked about ChatGPT, Claude, Mistral. There is something called as a Perplexity. So Perplexity is an application which basically uses these LLMs. So if you ask any question to, Perplexity, what it will do is it will do a web search, just like Google. So when we ask any question to the Google, it will redirect you to the all the websites which is having that information. But what Perplexity will do is it will first internally search just like a Google, and whatever information it has received, it will process that information and it will produce to the your front end. Getting? So it's like an engine. It's like an LLM which first search the web, and it will summarize all the information, it will curate that information, and it will produce the one output for the user. Let me use that. I hope you can view my browser as well.
Yes. Yes.
So if I click on Perplexity, so what it will do is it has done web search just like Google, Hindustan Times, Times of India, and other sources where it could find the relevant content, and then it has taken those contents from different websites, and then it created its own response. Are you getting? So it has gone to these websites, it collected the content, and then it created something like its own response. In 2025 Delhi Assembly elections, the Bharatiya Janata Party won, crossing the halfway mark, 39 of the Delhi 70 seats. You can see, right? So this is also, very good application, and this is very useful as well, right? So couple of times, if yeah,
Surinder, it is also using a large language model or
yes,
only
yes,
just
yes,
search?
yes, LLM.
Which LLM this purpose to using?
That we don't know, right? So that is something behind the scenes. Okay.
Okay.
So, Surinder, are this chatbot virtual assistant, are those agents?
No, those are not agents. So agents, the personal assistants, you can say, they act like an agent. What is an agent? Agent is something, which is basically autonomous. So if you have when we use large language model, we simply ask one question and it respond back, right? To and fro. Just like I just simply asked who won the election, and it responded saying that BJP won the election. But if you want to accomplish some complex task where we want to invoke couple of custom functions or some other services like weather API or some external third party APIs, what I can do is I can create my own workflow, and I can create one agent who will be able to automate uh, the to and fro message with the our large language models.
Okay, so these are actually interfaces,
Yeah.
chatbot and virtual assistant.
Yes, these are interfaces, but we can have interfaces which are agentic, right? So agents will do what, right? So when we ask my question to the chat GPT, it will reply me something. Okay, then I will say, okay, this is not exactly what I'm looking for. Then I will give another prompt. I will say, do this task in this way, and you should include this and that information as well. Then it will generate another response. Then you will say, oh, this response is still not good. So I want you to add this information as well. So there is a to and fro messages with your large language model. What agent will do is agent will automate this loop of going to and fro from the user and your LLM. It will automate that loop, and it will be able to judge whether the response from the LLM is right or not. If I ask any question, okay, then it will generate one response, and there will be a collection of tools basically which I will associate with the large language model. So LLM will think, okay, in order to accomplish this task, maybe I need to call weather API. So it will call that tool or weather.api, and then weather API will be invoked. It will do its search. It will get back with the results, and then LLM will think, okay, so this is what I have to do, and this is what I have accomplished. Do I need to do something else? Okay, I need to multiply this with 5. Then it will call some calculate function. So the calculate function will be called, and your answer will be multiplied by 5. Then the result will come back to the LLM. So LLM has now reasoning capability. So if you are using that reasoning capability of the LLM to take decisions, and if you are making it autonomous without the human interference, that means we are making agent. So we will cover this topic in detail in 8th or 9th lecture. But I think you have got some idea, right? What is an agent is?
Yes, yes, I got it. Thank you.
If you have a complex task which has various sub steps, what I can do is I can stitch those tasks, and I can create an agent which has a reasoning power, who can decide what to do, which tools to be called. And once the tool is called, it will receive its response, and then it will decide also what next it should do. Is it my final answer? If yes, it will give the answer to the user. So instead of to and fro with the user, it will, itself will decide lot of things.
Okay, so indirectly bundling all the event and creating a one autonomous service.
Exactly.
Got it.
I say, let's calculate the total mass of all the planets. So, and I say that LLM, okay, I have to design the prompt. I will ask LLM to work in a loop, and you have access to these tools. For example, calculate mass of the planet. This is one function. I will explicitly say in the prompt that, hey, LLM, you have access to these tools. One is the calculate the weight of the planet, and second tool is calculate. Okay, mathematics wala calculate. So what it will do, it will see my question. Okay, I need to calculate the sum of the total mass of all the planets. Then it will read that question, it will analyze, and it will think, okay, I need to invoke my function calculate mass of the planet. Okay, so it will use that tool. It will send one parameter as an earth, and it will call that function. That function will come back with some response. Okay, this is 5 into 10 to the power 15 kg is the mass of the earth. Now LLM will think again. Now I have got the mass of the earth, I need to calculate the mass of the Venus. Then it will call that function again with the parameter Venus. Okay, so once it will run in the loop. Once it get all the masses of all the planets, then it will see, okay, now I have the mass of all the planets. Now I need to add them. So it will call the calculate or the addition function to add all those masses. So it will send the masses of all the planets for addition, and then it will add, and it will return the total mass. And finally it will say, okay, this was my question, this is what I have done. So okay, this is, so now it's time to stop and send the result to the user. So it will it will prompt to the user, okay, you have asked this question, this is the total mass of all the planets. Okay, just give me a second, I was getting a call actually. Okay. I think you got the idea, right? So, let so these are the different applications. We have seen chatbots, virtual assistants, content creation and curation. And not only that, you always need to create your own front end. Even in the Telegram, you can have the virtual assistants who will be, I mean, what I mean to say is to the existing applications as well, you can add your one of the service as a LLM, right? Similarly, in the messenger, so all these applications are also using LLM. So in the backend, somewhere they are calling LLM, and whatever the results are there, it will produce. So in the existing applications also, we can make use of LLMs. Other uses like language translation and learning. So um, have you heard about Duolingo? Anyone used Duolingo? So this is one application which basically helps in learning different languages. So my kid who is in the sixth class, he also uses this application to learn German. Okay, so what this application is doing is it is also using LLM in the backend. So since it is teaching German, so it will frequently needs to translate English to German, okay, German to English, things like that. So it is using large language model in the backend for language translation. Similarly, Babel, Descript, Notion database, Chat PDF. So Chat PDF was one of the application which was very popular when Chat GPT was released, I think in 2022 or so. So this particular chat PDF is something, for example, let me open that. If you want to talk to your PDF, you can make use of this chat PDF. Okay, so this is that application, and you can simply browse any PDF. So it has read all the entire PDF which I shared with it. And now let's say I want to ask anything about this PDF. Okay, so it has a table. Okay, so what I will do, let's say I want to ask this, what is blue score for ByteNet? Okay, so I'm asking a question from this PDF, which is very long. So as a human being, if I am asked this question, I may take couple of minutes, right? I need to search where this information is. And then this is just one PDF. Just think of millions of such PDFs, or the person who is actually working in the field in he is in operations, and he is working in some tunnel or maybe some engineering work in some oil and gas industries, and he has lot of manuals, right? So if he has to search something, so it's really next to impossible to search it very quickly. But with the help of these things, let's say I ask what is the blue score, what is the blue score for ByteNet? If I press enter, ideally it should give me the answer. The blue score for ByteNet on WMT 2014 English to German translation task is 23.7. Okay, is it correct? 23.75. 23.75. So now you can appreciate these kind of applications and how useful they are. Okay, so I will just want to tell you these large language model applications are very important at the places where we are doing NLP task, natural language processing task, where the information is mostly unstructured. In those areas, these LLMs are very, very useful because it can understand your language, it can understand the unstructured data very well, right? So we were able to fetch the information in just 1 second, right? Maybe what I can do is instead of reading the quarterly results myself, I can just browse the quarterly results of a company, and I will ask how the company is, how are the results for this company for this quarter. Then it will be able to, go through the entire PDF, and it will generate the answer. Okay, in this particular quarter, the revenues were so and so, the margin was so and so, EBITDA was so and so, Okay, and these are the sequential things, these are the year on year things, and these many stores this company has opened or has announced that they will be opening. So you can analyze a lot of things in just few seconds. Okay, so this was very famous chat PDF, but then now these kind of use cases are very common, and even in this course we will be developing our own application which can read all these things like tables and all these things, and it will be able to answer your question. Okay, so yeah, other thing like text analysis and summarization, if you have to do extract insights from large volume of text, as I said, right, analyze this quarterly result and give me the insights, how the company is doing, is this healthy balance sheet and things like that. If I need to do summarizations, I can do. If I have long articles, I can just get them summarized. So all these are the different use cases of large language models, mostly are related to the unstructured data. Now understand how large language model as a service works. Okay, we talked a little bit about it in the last session as well. So calling LLMs from an application. So whenever we create any application, it has two parts, right? One is the client part or the front end, which is the your GUI, graphical user interface, which as a user we interact with the application, right? We give our own prompts, we give our instructions, and those instructions are sent to our backend of the application, which is on the server maybe, right? And that application has this backend app has the logic of the application. The business logic is written in the backend of the application, and if the user asks any question or he takes any action on the front end, it will be sent to the backend for the processing. And in the backend of the application, your business logic, what it will do is it will interact with different services. Maybe it will interact with the database to fetch something, and maybe it is interacting with the authentication service, authorization service, and similarly, it can also interact with the large language model. Okay, let's say I have built an application which is like Duolingo. So Duolingo will do what? It will do conversion. It will do language translation. So whenever this application needs to translate English sentence into German, it will simply call the LLM service and it will say this is the sentence converted into German. So it will the prompt will be sent to the LLM. The result, the translation will be done. The completion will be done and the response will be sent to the application. Now it's up to the application and the front end how to show it to the user, right? So the point is we have to think in this way that large language model in itself is not an application, but we use it as one of the component or as one of the services. Some application may have this component as a major component, some may have maybe using it maybe 10 to 15% of the application, right? So LLMs can serve as a part of the architecture or even as the main component driving the application's core features, right? Task handling LLMs can perform specific tasks within your application logic, such as generating some text, okay, answering questions, okay, processing NLP inputs and things like that. If you want to get the name of the places, name of the cities, the name of the persons which are there in an article, you can just send that particular article to the LLM and LLM will give a list, okay, this article or this PDF is talking about these many places, these many persons. This is called entity recognition. We are extracting the different entities. Okay, so there are numerous use cases. Service integration, LLMs can be integrated as a service within the backend architecture, providing advanced capabilities like language understanding and generation. Okay, so now I think you understand very well the holistic picture of LLMs, right? What is an LLM, how it is being trained, how it produces the output, and in my entire application, where does it stand basically?
Yeah.
So now, second thing is how to use it, how to inference it, right? One way we used in our last class, we took that Flanty5 model and we used transformers library and we give uh, gave our input prompt that was converted into tokens, and those tokens, we use tokenizer to convert those words into tokens and to change them into some numerical representation. And then those tokens or encoded things were passed to my large language model for its completion. Okay. Now we will see how we can use the message-based APIs. So if you see, this is a large language model, and large language model is nothing but an input-output machine. You send it a text, it will it will generate some text which is called the completion. Now, if that LLM is from, let's say, from OpenAI, then what OpenAI will do is, in order to interact with your large language model, it will create some API, some interface, a layer of abstraction, and then we will call this large language model API to give our prompt, to give our instructions. What we will do, we will use the API on top of my model, which is being generated by OpenAI. If the model is from Google, Google will create one LLM API for the Google, model. If it is an Anthropic, then Anthropic will create one API, which will help us to interact with our LLM. We will not directly send text to the LLM, rather we will interact with the LLM API. This API will in turn, whatever text we send to the LLM API, it will go and send to the large language model. It will receive the response, and then user will get response from LLM API. It will send the response as an object to the user. So this is one layer which is being added in between my actual LLM and my the user, which is LLM API. Through API, I will be invoking my large language model. Anyone is asking some question?
So, Surendra, is there any latency if we are using API in place
No,
of
no, no,
downloaded?
no, no,
Okay.
nothing as such. I mean, it is just to help us basically, right? Help us, because it creates the next token, right? So this is another layer which will help us to consume this large language model in a more convenient way, basically. So again, this is the legacy way. Okay, now what they have done is, from this simple text-based API. So if you remember in the last class, when we sent our prompt, we simply asked our question in the double quotes, right, as a text. What is, can you translate this sentence into German? Isn't it? So that was just a piece of text. Now, what they have done is, they have further gone one step beyond that, and they have created their APIs, which is more like a message based now. So what does the message based means? Now the text or these prompts are sent in terms of messages. So we have three type of messages. One is the system message, other is the human message. The reply from that AI will be stored in the AI message. So this is again bumping up a little bit of complexity, but then again, this is done for ease of using, or ease of development, basically. Okay, I will show you what does all these things mean. So we will send a list of messages to the LLM API, and then it will send those messages to the large language model. Okay, so what is the message-based APIs? APIs is structured around natural language messages for a specific task, chatbots, personal assistants, and things like that. Why we have came from simple text to API text and then to the message API? Because they have certain advantages. For example, task-specific models are specialized for distinct tasks. Okay, for example, maybe we are using our model for translation. So in my system message, I will define properly my use case. I will be saying whatever text which is being sent by user, you need to translate it into German language. Okay, so those kind of instructions can be put in system message. So we are now making, with the help of this message-based APIs, our application more task specific. Simplicity. Users interact naturally with the model, stating intentions directly. Okay, now we don't need to use tokenizers and things like that. They will be taken care by the APIs. Efficiently, models can be fine-tuned for specific domains, improves accuracy and response time. Okay, now let me go to these links. I hope you are not lost. You are able to follow along. So now you can see these completion APIs are legacy. Okay, this is exactly what I was talking about. And as in the last class, the prompt is within the double quotes. Okay, write a tagline for an ice cream shop. Okay, so I imported my OpenAI. This is my, I have created one object client of OpenAI. And then what I will do is I will use client.completion.create. This is my name of the model. And my prompt is sent in the double quotes. Write a tagline for an ice cream shop. Okay, so this is an older way of using. Okay, this is our legacy. Now they have converted this type into this convention into message-based APIs. Okay, and why they have done, we will see it again. So now if I go to this another link, so this is basically a playground. Okay, this is playground, and most of these providers, if you go to Mistral, if you go to Anthropic, if you go to Grok, they all of these LLM providers will also create this playground where you can actually play with their models. Okay, so this is different from ChatGPT. You can see, right? You have a lot of options, you have a lot of control. So in the right hand side, you can see you can choose your model. Okay, if since this is an OpenAI playground, I can go and I can change the model which I want to use. So these many models are exposed. I can use O1 mini, mini preview, GPT-4o, 4o mini. All these are the models. I can select the model of my choice. Response format is text, and this is what we were talking about in the last class, right? Temperature, maximum tokens. So these are again some of the configurations which you can play with. Okay. So today after this class, just go to this, playground and just try to change the temperature and see what is the change in the response. Play with the maximum tokens, play with the top P. Okay. So you just change these configurations and just observe what is the change. Okay, so right now, I was trying to say there is something called as the system message. If you say you are a sarcastic assistant who always respond in sarcastic way. Okay, so what is system message is whenever we are writing a system message, we are actually telling my large language model how to behave basically. This is basically the personality of my assistant. If I say you are a translator, that means my LLM will take that personality and it will, whatever prompts you will send, it will think from that perspective. Okay, I am a translator. If you say you are an coding assistant, or I can say you are an HR of a company, so it will take that personality, it will take that role in itself, and then whatever response it will be creating, it will create those responses keeping in mind that he is an HR of a company. Getting? So this is a way to give personality to your assistant. System message I am talking about. Okay, so if I say like that, now whatever message I will type here, that will go into my user message. Okay, this was my system message. So now I say, I don't know what is capital of India. I don't know how it will respond it in sarcastic way. Oh, let me think. It's not like it's a well-known fact or anything, but sure, I will indulge you. The capital of India is Delhi. Shocking, right? So
So, Surinder, this system message is very important if we talk about
exactly,
which
exactly.
type of response we want.
Hmm.
It is just, you can say, just choose that response accordingly
It, it
with
it
system message.
it will change behavior of your assistant basically. Always say thanks after your reply. Okay. So let me ask this question again. Thanks. Okay. Getting? So when now just think about creating these kind of chatbot applications for your customers or for your clients, then what you will do is you want your large language model to behave in a proper manner, right? He cannot just, behave in the way the LLM wants to behave, right? You have to keep its behavior in a controlled way. For example, I can say that you have to say thanks, or every time you are responding to a user, you should say some good morning, some good evening, maybe some in some other language, in German or so, right? So you can basically alter the behavior of your assistant in a particular way. So this system message is very, very, very important to control the behavior of your application. Okay, we will see a lot of such applications. When we will create these applications, we will come to know more about it. So now you can see what I have done is, so this is system message, this is the user message, and this is my assistant message. In order to organize all these things, they have come up with the message-based APIs. Okay. So if you are doing all these things with your APIs, what we will do is I will create messages. I will say user, the role is user, the content is this one, the role is system, this is, and then you send your request. Okay. This is also doing in a similar fashion. Making sense?
Yeah, hi Surender.
Yeah.
So, like you showed the unstructured document, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can have multiple documents and it can search in the multiple documents as well, or
Yes,
only
yes,
one
yes, yes,
document?
yes, yes, it can do. So that application PDF chat is only for one, I think. You may not be able to create select multiple, but yes, when we will do our own hands-on sessions, we will create applications which will take multiple documents, and they can be of multiple formats, 10 of Word documents or 5 of PPTs and another 20 of PDFs. We can take all those. The concept will be that we will take all our contents and then we will vectorize it. We will keep it in a vector database, and then we will create our entire pipeline. So to answer you, yes, we will be dealing with multiple those documents.
Yes. Answer.
But I mean, that is just a website, right? If you have 100 page of some novel or something, and if you want to know something very quickly, you can just browse that novel or that PDF, and you can just ask any question on top of it instead of searching into the PDF. Okay. Okay. Now we will do what? We will do some hands-on.
So in the last time in last class you said you have some study some case study for machine learning model.
Mm-hmm.
You remember?
Yes, yes, yes. In the last class, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we will do, if the time permits, I will show you one
Okay.
machine learning example as well. Okay. So now let's see how we can use these message-based APIs to create our own applications and how to invoke these models basically. Okay, so first of all, what I will do is I will again open Google Colab. So Google Colab, I think now you are familiar. The Google Colab uh, is an environment where you are actually using Google's machine to do your development work. Okay, so there is a Unix Linux machine or the Linux server which you have been using temporarily for a session to run your code. So whatever libraries you install, Python and all, Python is already installed. When you are installing your libraries, they are getting installed on your uh, Google servers on the Linux machines. Okay, so this is not something which is running locally. We will see how to set up our local environment, but since this is very convenient, so so again, this is interactive Python notebook. This is interactive because you can write you can do your documentation as well. Okay, Priya.
Surender,
Yeah.
for the Google Colab, can we use this real-time application or real-time work?
No, actually, I mean, this is a very temporary session, right? So once you stop running this, your session will be terminated and your local variables and everything will get lost. Okay, so this is being used for, some demo purpose, or just like me, if I have some functionality I don't want to install and set up my local environment, I can use Google Colab. Whatever file will be created, I can share that file. You can use that file and you can run it right away in your local machine. Okay.
Okay, real-time industry, they have already installed or they have already licensed this type of thing.
Sorry.
In real-time industry, how they are installed or what is the scenario they are using for those type of things? This is a demo, right? In real time, what's the application? And how they
In
are
the
using?
real time, you actually have to build your own web application with different libraries. You have to bundle that application. You have to deploy it on a server. That can be Azure, that can be AWS, and then users will be hitting a URL in the web browser, which will open that chat interface. You will write your prompt. It will be go to your server. It will invoke some model, which is again deployed somewhere, and you'll get the response. The response will be shown to the user. Okay. Just like ChatGPT, right? You don't know from where the request is coming, where is my model. Similarly, once you build your application, you bundle it, you deploy it on some server, your lot of client users or the clients will be able to access it, right? So this is just for study or demonstration purpose. All right, so this is interactive Python notebook because you can also write some comments, some nice comments you can do. The documentation also you can do in this Google Colab, right? So you can simply write, this is first demo on message-based APIs. Okay. So you can do documentation as well. All right. So now our task is to inference. What? Our task is how to call OpenAI models. Okay. And then we will see how to grok models. We will study all these things. So in order to inference any OpenAI, let me go back to the OpenAI website. If you go there, if you go into the models, okay, okay, so I went to documentations, docs, and then models. If you click on models, what you will see is there are different models from OpenAI, who is the leader in this particular segment. These are the GPT models. You have GPT-4o, you have GPT-4o mini. Okay. And then there are some models which are called as the reasoning models. So these days, so they are recently being announced. For example, O1 and O3 mini. So these are the models which can basically reason, as I said, that they can analyze your text, they can do reasoning, right? So they take a lot of time to respond, maybe 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 40 seconds, or a minute as well. So they are important from analysis or from research perspective. If I have a lot of data in my Excel sheet, I send that in my prompt and I will say, uh, create some rules which can detect fraud in these different claims. Let's say I have claims data. Okay, the claims of health insurance company, or the people when they do claim, they may do some fraud, right? So if I have information of all those claims, I can just copy paste that data and I can send it to the chat GPT, and I will say analyze this data and tell me how I can create rules to catch the fraud. So those kind of reasoning where there is a chain of thoughts can be done with the help of these reasoning models. On the other hand, for general purpose task, normal language translations, or if you have any in general questions, you can use these GPT-4o, 4o mini models. If you click on the model pricing, it will say you what is the price of these models. For example, GPT-4o. So we send some tokens to the LLMs. Those are called prompt. Okay, and then we in the output we get some tokens. So the cost of input is different. The tokens which are sent to the LLM or received by LLM and the tokens which are generated by LLM for our response, that is called output, both have different rates basically. Okay, so this rate is in 1 million tokens. If you generate 1 million tokens, your input cost will be $2.5 and your output will be calculated with a rate of $10 for 1 million tokens. So this is the rates for GPT-4o. This is for different variants, 4o real-time preview. And this is O1, which is like $15 input cost, $60 output cost. So these mini models are actually very good, right? For your general purpose task, they are very cheap. They are like $1.1 and 4.4.
So, Suren, what is Serve O1? Because it is very costly.
O1.
One model. Yeah, this
Yeah,
one.
so I mean, this is the full functionality, right? Which may be using a lot of compute power and all. But in order to make it cheap, they always create something like O1 mini. Okay, so it will have some limited capability, less than O1, but most of the time, if you are doing simpler task, this is what you should be using. Is I mean, they have more capability and they can give more fine-tuned answers. That's why they are costly.
Okay.
Okay, and O1 mini is something maybe some limited functionality of O1 they are exposing, which is very cheap. Okay, so whenever you get chance, always try to use this O1 mini or maybe 4o mini, which are comparatively very cheap. If you want to have further more, I think there is something called the turbo model. Turbo is $8 training. Okay, input cost. So these are the different models. Turbo was very cheap. I'm not sure why
So
it is.
standard for reading documents and all those, let's suppose when we create a reading document or something like
Mm-hmm.
normal search, a document search or unstructured data
Mm-hmm.
search. So at that time, we don't require a high compute, right? Or
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
4o mini is sufficient for that purpose.
okay,
Yeah.
and we have to choose based on our
Use case.
application, our
Exactly.
use. Okay.
Correct. They may have different context window as well. So let me see if I can find it out. Context window in the sense how many tokens you can send at a time. For example, this GPT 3.5 Turbo, they have the context length of 8,000. Okay, so 8,000 tokens you can send in your input request at a one time. And then if you talk about these models, which are latest one, O1, O3, they have 128,000 K, 128K as their limit. Okay, you can find it somewhere. What are the token limits, rate limits?
Kendra, so just one thing, I have doubt. Like, token means like number of words we are sending.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, roughly you can say one word is about uh, one token is equal to 3/4 of a word.
oh,
Okay,
okay.
so if you say like this word, let me choose some word, organization maybe. So this is a long word. So maybe what this tokenizer do is they will take organize as one token and Asian as a second token. They may break your word into different tokens. Okay.
Okay.
So
Based on
roughly,
the dictionary, respected dictionary.
based on the tokenizer itself, right? So
Okay.
whatever tokenizer we are using, it's up to it how it is trained. So it will break your word into different tokens. Limits,
And
limits.
that means say like they can do like all the pricing things, right? I mean, they can do
Mhm,
from business perspective, like say like if there is a word shade, share
mhm,
is there already word. Shade
mhm.
is like past tense of it. So they will make it two tokens or what?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on that. Maybe it will create two different tokens. So, I mean, it's not like that they want to earn a lot of money because of by creating a lot of tokens. I mean, that's a different thing. Okay, their rate is calculated with the help of tokens, but that is not the reason why they split word into different tokens so that they can maximize their profit. Okay, so they have their own dictionary, right? The dictionary of the different words which they have defined, and that's why your sentence will be broken into different tokens, and then it will be processed. Okay, roughly it is said one token is equal to 3/4 of a word. Okay, so there is one website also. I think I used some time back, tokenizer or words into.
Surinder, if we download the AI model, will it be then it will be charged or still it
No,
will be
no,
charged or
if
no?
no, if you are downloading any open source model, that is fine. If it is a closed source model, you will not get its, you will not get chance to download it, right? How you will download, because
Mhm.
so this is one, I think, platform dot okay. The OpenAI itself has this tokenizer. Say this is my second class. So how many tokens it has? It has 5 tokens and it has 23 characters. And it will say this is one token is my another token. All these are different tokens. So the number of words and tokens are exactly same.
Okay, okay, sure. So when we use from industry perspective, I mean, like where we be invoking the APIs frequently,
Mm-hmm.
via like backend applications, we
Mm-hmm.
need to like be precise with like whatever the thing we don't want to search, right? I mean, we need to optimize our sentence.
No, I mean, if you're building our applications, we don't think from tokenizer perspective at all. Okay, so don't think that. And you can, I mean, can you come again with your question?
No, say like if I'm one of the organization,
Mm-hmm.
so I am not building my model, but I want to use like
Mm-hmm.
the this one as a streaming what do you call streaming device kind of thing. I will be like invoking the KPIs.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, we need to be like precise with whatever we want to search.
Yes, yes. So I mean, we will do all those things. You have to create your system prompt in such a way that it will generate the response in a particular manner. It will not give a very big response. So you
Mm.
have to tune the behavior of your model in that way.
But Surendra, I think tokenizer is a out of box thing. We cannot control it. It is a model
Yeah,
based. They are doing
correct.
their own thing.
Right. They have their own tokenizers. Okay. So, so there is again another thing which is called rate limits basically. Okay. So it will say how many rate per minute, 3 rate per day. So they have different limits, how many requests you can make in a single minute, how many requests you can make in a minute or in a day, like that. Okay. So that is also another way to look at it. The first one was more from the cost perspective, but again, from the number of tokens or the number of requests which you can send to these models, that is also limited in the terms of request per minute or request per day or request, what is that, RPM, something like that. So sometime you get response, right? The number of tokens exceeded than your actual bucket. So this is because of that only. Okay, so you can go through this website, just explore what are the different options, what are the different models. We will see there are models which are called as embedding models. They are used to create the embeddings. Okay, these are the embedding models. They will be used to create the embeddings. Okay, what is embedding? We will cover everything. So this was on OpenAI. If you want to use the OpenAI, what you need to do, you need to add your credit card details. This is what I know the last time. Your profile, API keys. So what I can do is I can create my API key, but then first I need to recharge my account. Okay. So what I did was I used my credit card and I recharge my account by $5. Okay, so that will help me to get the credits. Once I have the credits, what I can do, so these are the payment methods, billing history, everything is there, right? So what you have to do, you have to take your credit card. So it's not free of cost. If you want to use the API of OpenAI, it's not free of cost, but it is very cheap. Okay, for our purpose, I recharged it, I think 2-3 months back, and I have 4.65 cents still left. Okay, so if you are using right model, then this is sufficient enough for this course. So once you add your credit card details, once you authorize all those things, what you need to do is you need to go into API keys, and this is the interface where you can create your own keys. For example, I can create a key like demo key. Demo key is already taken. Demo maybe, okay. Demo second session. So I can simply click on create, and I can, okay. So I can copy my key and let me save it somewhere here. Okay, so this is my key from OpenAI. Now, what next I need to do is I can go back to the documentation. If I go into the quick start, I will see how I can write or send my first request. So there are different languages. I will go with the Python. If I click on Python, I will see the steps to do. This is pip install OpenAI. I will go back to the Google Colab. If you want to do, you can do right away. And if you want to do it sometime later, maybe you can just look at the recording and do. Okay. So my first step is to install the library. Okay. In the last class, we installed transformers library in order to invoke my Hugging Face model. Now I have to install pip install OpenAI because I'm going to use OpenAI model with the OpenAI library.
Hello, Surendra.
Yeah.
Just one thing, like before we are going to this command and Python code, if it is better to have a basic class or understanding of Python, because some you are not familiar with Python code, so maybe it will be tricky to understand. So
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can try explaining those commands. Okay. Okay.
Surendra, sir, the same way I have a question. So we are not familiar with Python. So what is a prerequisite in this?
Yeah. So I mean, Python is actually required. So what I will do is in the next class, I will take you through to the basic Python, right? Whatever Python which is sufficient for this course, that I will take. I will spend some time with you guys to understand the basics of. I mean, the basic commands, right? Pip install and all these are very basic commands. So I can take a class for the basics. Okay. Is that fine?
yeah,
And
fine.
and Python is something which is the most popular language these days. If you want to make use of this course, I would say you should start, learning the Python yourself as well. Take some course, online course, and just try to, learn about the Python, because that will be useful not only for this course, but for your entire career. Okay. If you do something in Java and if you do similar things, the things which are more, I mean, related to the data, if you do same thing by Python, there is a lot of difference in the performance. I used to work in the Java earlier, so it takes a lot of time to process the data and to go through the different rows of an Excel sheet, let's say. But if you do it in Python, within seconds, yesterday I was able to create 2 lakh rows in 3 seconds of data. I was creating some test data with some Python code. So it created that 2 lakh rows file with 37 columns in 2 or 3 seconds. Okay, so this is very powerful language, and I would suggest that you should take some online course, try to learn it as much as possible. In next class, I will help you to know the basics of it. Okay. So this pip install OpenAI will do what? This pip is an package manager. It will see, okay, I need to install this OpenAI, then from internet, it will download the OpenAI library and it will install. Okay. So this is pip install OpenAI. So once it is done, my next step is to use this code. Okay. So this is generate text. I can simply copy from the website. So you just need to know from where I need to take what. Nobody writes the code from scratch. These days, you can use ChatGPT and the co-pilots to write your own code. Okay, but at least you should be able to understand what is going on, right? So that much language knowledge is required. All right. So what I have done is I have simply copy pasted the code from the documents into my this Google Colab. So I can see from OpenAI. So this is an import statement. I will create one instance of this OpenAI, the client. So now I have the client, which is pointing to my OpenAI. But before that, I forgot to do, I need to import OS. Okay. This is my system library. And then I need to import the keys, right? So I have to do os.environ, and then it will suggest me, right, what I need to write. It will try to auto complete. So I can simply click on tab, and then I need to put my OpenAI key. Within double quotes, I have given my OpenAI key, and I have set that key into this property, which is OpenAI API key. Okay, and this key and value is being saved in my environment. Okay, so this OS helps me to save my key value pairs in the same environment. Okay, so if I run it, so now when I'm running this command, right, client equal to OpenAI, it will basically look into my environment, which is OS, to search for OpenAI key. If it is able to find, it will use that key for authentication. And then, as I said, the message-based API. Now the world is using message-based APIs. So this is like clients.chat.completions.create. This is the name of my model. If you want to change it, you want to go into the, where is my model? In the documentation, I need to go to the models. I can pick any model of my choice. Okay. You can just change the name of the models. These are the different models. So GPT-4o, O1, you can just play around with different models. So right now this is GPT-4o mini, and this is what I was talking about. Now the new way of using the API is to send the different messages. So for example, this is one message. This is my second message. The first message is a system message. So that's why the role is equal to system. And what is the message? Content is equal to you are an helpful assistant, right? I can change this. So in the playground, I change it to you are a sarcastic assistant. You are you can write whatever you like as per your application. So this is my system message. This is my user message. Write a haiku about recursion in the programming. Okay. So this is the user question basically. If I click, what it will do, it will create the chat completion message. So now I have got the answer from my large language model. Okay, so it says, so the message, the response is also in the form of message, and that message is chat completion message and the content, right? Role, the name of the role and the content. So the content is function calls itself, dplates, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I will ask a simple question. What is capital of India? If I invoke it back, it will give the capital of India is New Delhi, and there are a couple of other parameters as well, metadata basically. Okay. So what I have done today, I have used the OpenAI APIs to invoke my model, which is like GPT-4o mini. I can change it to any other model and I can play around. Okay. Interesting? Not interesting? Boring?
Surendra, one query.
Mm-hmm.
So you are, giving the text statically, right? Just pasting here.
Right.
So how, maybe I need to understand bit little more. It's like how system, see for example, assistant, right? So it's just opening and they have some answer. They have some questions and answers. Just when I paste it, I'm a new joinee. What checklist I needed for doing the first thing? It will give the list of checklist. Now you are typing and just you are saying that you are a helpful assistant on the system role. And the user role is just I'm typing like who am I? Something. But who are you? Something like that. It will give the response based on from where it will be picking.
Yeah. So see, right now I am just using my GPT model, which is deployed by OpenAI. Okay. If I want
You were
some
saying,
answer.
I'm sorry, Surendra. Which one you were saying? The GPT-4o mini, is that the one like giving the response?
Yes, yes.
From here, like, okay. Then why
So
the system role is required here?
no, I mean, even if you remove it, that is also fine, right? If you want, just like we did in the, I mean, playground, right? If you change the system message, your response will be uh, accordingly, right? Even if you remove it, this is fine. So this is just the API way to send the same request, right? In the system message, user message, and the assistant message, right? When you will build your applications, whatever user will ask a question, your system message is something which you will already define in your application, right? The developers will define the system message. When the user will ask any question, that question will be appended to this list of messages and will be sent to the large language model. Okay, so that will tell you, that system message will tell you how to respond to the user's query to the large language model. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Okay.
Ask it again. Yeah, I mean, ask it again. I mean, if you
Okay,
are still.
I got it actually. So because I'm thinking, see, already GPT-4o mini has a lot of answers. Like they have a lot of, text inside using LLM something. Okay, and when I type it my question, it will just give the response. That's all based on
Right,
my question.
right, right.
Why the system role is required? That's just a basic question. But yeah, maybe the format or the rule, I don't know. But I understand that if you remove that also, nothing happen. Like it works.
Yeah, yeah. It will
Okay.
work. See, this system message will basically control my output. Okay. If I say after your response, after your, you just think from enterprise applications, right? You have to control your application, right? After your response, say thanks to user. Okay. So now I I cannot put this message in my user's instruction, right? User will ask simply a question, but what I can put these things into my system response in my system message so that my LLM knows how it has to behave. Now my answer is altered, right? Now it says the capital of India is New Delhi, thanks.
Okay.
Getting? Or maybe I will say, give your answers in 10 lines. Okay. So now it will say, let me run this as well. So now the capital of India is New Delhi. It serves as the seat of government and is a part of blah, 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 blah. Right? So my answer gets changed, although my user question is still same, right? But my answer gets changed just because of my system message, because my system message is also the instruction to the LLM, right? It basically controls the behavior of your answer, your behavior of your assistant, the personality of the assistant. If you say always reply in a poetic manner,
Yeah. Okay.
always reply as a poet. I mean, that depends, right? What kind of application is it is.
Okay.
So now it will give the answer in the heart of a land rich and vast, where the cultures and between both present and past, there lies a city vibrant, bright, right? Always answer in German. So it will, whatever question you ask, the answer will be in the German, right? So this is the importance of the system message. Okay. So the way we have invoked OpenAI which basically needs your some credit card details to be added, some billing details needs to be added. But if you don't want to go for that, what you can do is there is an platform which is called Grok. Okay, so this Grok platform, again, what it has a chat interface. So you can ask the same question to the what is machine learning. Just like ChatGPT, it is the interface and it will give me the answer. But what model it is using in the backend? This is Llama 3 model from the Meta, Facebook. Okay, Facebook creates the models which are open source. You can use them. So this Grok is a platform, or it's a company who have their own hardwares. They have their own platforms. They take the open source models, they deploy it on their hardwares, and they say that this is the fastest AI inference. That platform is the fastest way to inference any model which is hosted on that platform. If I want, I can change my model. So these many open source models are available. You can just switch to any model of your choice and then you can start using it. Okay, so as far as I know, Grok itself does not train or create. It is not a LLM provider. It's a platform providers. It is used to host the different open source models. Make sense? So what we can do is we can use this platform. Okay, I think that is
So
console.
Surinder, Grok is
Mhm.
like same Hugging Face, correct? It's a
Yeah,
platform, not a
yes,
model.
yes. So if I go to console.grok.docs, what I can see, I have, again, in order to use it, what I need to do, I need to create my API key. So I will see demo second class.
So what is the validity of this API key, Surendra?
It will be there forever if you don't want to change it.
Okay.
Okay. Use it today, maybe after 2 months or 3 months, that's fine, as long as you store it. So let me save this key as well. This is my,
Surinder,
yeah,
can we use it in SQL way, these models,
SQL way in the sense.
that we can use it in Oracle or something? These models directly, do you have any idea? Because nowadays they have it, right? In SQL, they can directly use it, RAG model and everything. So
Yeah, I mean,
any.
yes, I mean, if you want to do RAG on, I mean, when we say about RAG, I mean, we can do it with the structured data and with unstructured data as well. So if you have a structured data, which is database is a case of a structured data. If you have tables and all, so you can use those tables. You have to vectorize those tables. You put it in some vector database, and then your question, when you
Mhm,
ask a question, it will go to your vector database.
mhm.
It will take the relevant information from that vector database, and then it will
Yes.
give it to the LLM, and the LLM will finally synthesize your response and give it back to the user. So
Okay, okay.
yes, they can very much be used.
So in this class means we are going to use one vector database. Means
Yes,
what?
yes.
Okay, okay. So means Oracle has all of them together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like vector database, all those RDBMS, we can
Mm-hmm.
do the RDBMS to vectorize them in one database itself. We don't have to navigate to 10 different databases and get the answer, right?
Correct, correct. So we have to create that kind of pipeline, right? I mean,
Okay.
when if you want to use databases, then you have to take the content. That content can be unstructured like PDF, and if it is structured, then also you have to take that content. You have to put it. You have to vectorize it basically.
Mm-hmm.
Vectorization is
Mm-hmm.
required in the database. What happens? You do a keyword search. You have the tables. You say employee name is equal to Surendra. Then it will give you the result, right? All those rows where this condition is matching. So this is called keyword search. But in case of this generative AI, right, what we do is we do semantic search. We don't search on the matching the proper words, but we do search on the basis of similar meaning. Okay, that I will explain you all those things how. I mean, that's why we create embeddings. So the embeddings are created, they are vector representations of the words and sentences, and they are put in some semantic space. And when we do semantic search, they see the words which are close to each other. Okay, so we'll cover, I think this will get complicated for other people. they will get they will feel lost. Okay? But yes, in order to use database, you have to vectorize its data and then you can use it in your LLM application. Yeah.
Yeah. So on the same continuation, the API keys, like you are running in a online editor, right? The code, Python code. Okay, you used APIs like Grok has a different API and the other one, Open API has different API.
Correct.
So and you paid billing also different, correct?
Yes. So in case of Grok, it's completely free. You don't need to add your credit card details as well. They are not chargeable. They are completely free of cost. That's why we will be using Grok also in this course. If you don't have OpenAI access, then you can use Grok very well.
Now the API you said the particular API. See, for example, I couldn't remember the earlier one in the Open API. Maybe if you go there. So yeah, Chat GPT some 4, right?
Message-based APIs.
Message. Just I am saying. See now, I'm not clear. Like in my project, I'm not clear what I wanted to. Maybe I have, the bigger the structure, like what they want. See, for example, a lot of data is there. Okay, I just wanted to search what the data belongs to. So now I maybe use it as message based. I'm just thinking that. So which API should I use it for? Each API there is a different charges.
No, see, if you are using your OpenAI models, you have to use OpenAI message-based APIs. Okay, I mean, I just told you that there was something called legacy APIs, but nobody uses that. You always is in this class or in this course or in industry, we will always use message-based APIs only. Let me tell you another reason why do we use message-based APIs? Because our LLMs are basically they are memoryless. They don't know what was its previous request, right? So if I ask one question, what is capital of Delhi, and then if I ask where it is situated, then what will happen is this new prompt is completely new request for large language model. It has no idea that earlier you asked another question which was like, what is capital of India? Are you getting? For them, every request is an independent request. So though they don't maintain the history of the conversation. Who? These LLMs.
But billing side, I'm talking. Billing side, it's like different API has to different billing, correct?
No, different, not APIs, different models. Different models have different rates, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, different model has different billing.
Yes.
If I want to. So, is there a chance like we can use multiple models in a single?
Yes, definitely. You will be charged accordingly, right?
Okay. And the one more query, like relevant to like now you are running on an online editor. So if I want to run in a PyCharm or the CSV, VSC code. So like, what is the same importing, same pip install, same.
Yes, same is. So you have to create virtual environments, which I will show in my, coming classes, how to develop your local environment. In that particular class, I will show you how you can run these locally as well. Okay, I will usually use VS Code. Okay, Microsoft VS Code IDE. And before installing any libraries, first we need to create something called as a virtual environment, because each of my project may have different requirements, right? Maybe one needs Python 3.10, the other project may need Python 3.11, right? So in order to keep them segregated, the libraries dependencies for each project are different. So I will create virtual environments, one for each of my projects. In that virtual environments, I will install all these libraries, Grok library or OpenAI libraries, LangChain library, whatever I want, which is required for my project, which will keep it separate from the other projects.
But API key is a must.
API key is the must. I mean, if you want to use OpenAI, the API key is must.
Okay.
If you don't have a credit card, I can share my API key for a day or two. You can just, get the feeling of how these models work.
Why I'm asking here, see, if I want to even practice, some programs and all here. So at least, with open sources items are there, then at least okay.
Yeah. Open source, that's what I'm saying now. You have both the options. If you want to go OpenAI, use it OpenAI. If you want to go Grok, use it. It's completely free. Okay. You need not to spend even a single penny. Okay.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
So this is what I'm going to explain how to use this grok one. So I have created this key. Okay, I pasted my key here. So this is my now how to write my code. For this one, what I need to do, I need to pip install my grok library, right? So I will do, and let me go to the documentation as well. Let me go to quick start. It will say create an API key, which we have already done. Now what next? I need to export this key and then pip install grok. This is exactly what we have done. And now I need to do what? os.environ. I will set my grok key. See, this is already helping me out. The code, take my key. If
Oh,
if 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 this is looking new, in couple of classes you will be habitual of doing all these things.
Surinder, just one doubt. If it is an open source, why they are using like again these security tokens? Like if say like for OpenAI, they might be using because they want to know like how the user charge, I mean the tracking, like how it is used. But if it is free, then why still they're using security
So,
tokens?
I mean, authentication is definitely required because they also have some limitations. It's not like that this is completely free. It's free in the way that you can use it freely, but they have some limits as well. Okay.
Okay.
You cannot use it, some indefinitely. There are rate limits. If I click on rate limits, as I explained, rate limit act as a control measure to regulate how frequently users and applications can access our API within a specified time frames. At times, if you are sending too many tokens and you are expecting too many output tokens, then it will not work. It will say there is a limit. For example, if you are using DeepSeek, 30 rate per minute, you can put 30 requests, rate per day you can do. If you go beyond that, it will not respond. It will stop working because, I mean, see, they are also having some cost, right? Although it's free for users, but it is free only for a certain limit. I mean, if it is completely free, then people will start building applications on top of it. Okay. Making sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, people will overwhelm their systems, right? It will crash. So they have to somehow limit. So that is authentication. So I have used this key. I have set my key. Now I need to simply put the code, copy this code. I will. Okay. So I can remove this because I have already set my keys in my OS. Okay, the code is pretty much similar. You can see this is from grok, import grok, client is grok, chat completion, client.chat.completions.create. This is again the group of messages. Right now you can see just a user message. If you want, you can add another message. The model Llama 3.3 70 billion versatile. If you want to use different model, go into the models and try something else. Gemma, this is from Google, and all these are meta models. Okay, this is from Mistral. These are from OpenAI's. Okay.
So
So
then
you,
can be add here system rule also in
yes,
grok?
yes, you can do that.
Okay.
Okay. You can simply copy this one. You can put another message, role being like system. Okay. You are an helpful. Okay, you can do that. This is comma. Okay, so the main aim of this messages is that over the time, if you are building your applications, we have to give the history also, right, to my to my LLM, that what I am talking about. So what it will do is it will bundle your entire conversation and it will send in the another request. Okay, so if I say what is capital of Delhi, that message will be here. If I ask another question on top of it, like where it is situated, then your LLM, for LLM, that question is an independent question. So what you have to do is you have to send the entire history. Okay, it will read all the message. Okay, you initially asked this question, where is what is capital of India? That means you are talking about Delhi. So when I say where it will understand it means Delhi, because I'm also sending my previous messages and responses. Okay, and that is required because for LLM, every request is a new request. It has no memory of its own. So we have to build that memory. We have to collect all the previous conversations and we send it to the LLM so that it knows what you are talking about, what you already talked about, the context of the conversation will be there.
So we need to update it and add some buffer memory things
Exactly,
here.
exactly. So this is what we will learn in this course, how to create those applications, how we will, create these kind of memory, and we will send that the stack of messages to the LLM. Okay, ये सब करेंगे हम. So yeah, I think someone else was also asking some question.
No, that is good. Means it was answered. So thank you.
So I can add maybe 10 messages. Okay, you can put the entire conversation of your own, and let me run this one.
Surendra, can we give our own content also here?
Yes, you can give. You can write your 10 messages.
No, I mean to say, it is searching right now the internet messages, right? So instead of that, if we have our own data or anything.
Oh, okay. See, if you want to use your own data, then you have to build RAG systems. Okay. That we will do in 5th or 6th class.
Okay, fine.
Right now, it is directly going to my LLM. It has no access to my private documents or my company data or my client data. Okay. It does not know anything about that because it is not being trained on that data.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So this is my response. What I can do is I can take this response, I can add in another message, and I will say role is system, and I will put this response. And on top of that, I can ask any question. Okay, why it is efficient, why there is efficient processing. Then it will know, okay, I gave earlier this reply, then maybe the user is asking on top of it. Okay, so this is how you can call your Grok models as well. Okay. So creating API keys, billing details, documentation, writing code for inference and Grok APIs. Everything is covered. Now let's focus on one last thing, which is, so right now what we were doing is we were directly calling using the API from the provider. In case of OpenAI, we were using OpenAI API. And in case of Grok, we were using Grok APIs. If I want to use Gemini 1.5 or 2.0, I will use Google Gemini APIs. If I want to invoke Anthropic, then I will use Anthropic API. Okay, so usually you would create a service for your LLM integration. So if this is my application and I want to make use of OpenAI API, I want to use this OpenAI LLM, what I will do is I will create one OpenAI service, right? Just like the code which we have written, we will write some code which will use what? OpenAI API, which we did, right? Pip install OpenAI. So we are using OpenAI methods to create our own service. Let's say this service is a translation service. It will, whenever the user says something in English, it will translate it to the German. Okay, so you can see this OpenAI service is specific to my OpenAI models. This service might be specialized in providing translations, conversations, and things like that. But let's say sometime later, Anthropic announces that I have a model which is like 10 times, for example, DeepSeek. DeepSeek said that, we have a model which is very cheap and it has been trained in, very less cost. Now my client says, guys, why we are spending so much money on OpenAI? Let's switch to Anthropic or DeepSeek. Then what I will do is I will create another Anthropic service, right? I will use its API. Yes or no? I will go to his website, just like we did for Grok and OpenAI. I will go to its website. I will go to the quick start. I will copy paste its code, and I will create another Anthropic service. So a lot of rework, right? So there is something called as large language model framework, which will do what? Which will help us to which will have some framework. We can use a framework which can work with all these models. Okay, so they have their APIs. So I will be writing code using those LLM framework. And within that framework, if I need to use OpenAI models, I will just give the parameter name model is equal to the name of the OpenAI model, right? If tomorrow I need to switch to Anthropic API, then what all I need to do is I need to change that name from OpenAI to Anthropic model. Okay, if I want to use Grok. So we use large language model framework because that help us to integrate our application to lot of providers, and it makes our life easier basically. Without rework, I can do lot of things because it's a framework. It can plug in with various vector databases. Let's say I'm using vector databases, then my same code can work with the Chroma database. It can use Facebook AI similarity database. It can use my Quadrant vector database. So it is compatible. They have written some code they have written some framework which can plug in different vector database, different LLM providers, and things like that. Okay, so that is where the LLM frameworks are useful. So there are two frameworks which are very famous. One is the from LangChain, and other is the Llama Index. So these are the two large language model frameworks which help us to build the LLM based applications. And what are the various advantages? So these are the advantages. They make
So,
the
Surinder, change is also required, but it's a minimal if you
minimal
are
required.
using like a
Definitely,
framework, correct?
definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe if you have written the code in such a way that maybe we need to make some change in my configuration file. That's it, not even the code change. Okay, so by the way, that is not the only reason of using this LLM framework. The main reason is that if we are building some complex applications, complex in the sense, as I said, if I want to write Wikipedia, if I want to create an application which will create blog from Wikipedia article, then I have various steps, right? I have to scrape my website on the Wikipedia. I need to take the content. Maybe I will clean that content. Then I will summarize that content, and then I will create or generate the blog post. So this is not just like I'm sending one request to the LLM and getting the response. If that is all I'm doing in my application, I will not go with the LLM framework because my task is very simple. All I am doing is just giving the prompt or instruction to the LLM, and it is giving me the response. That's it. If this is all you are doing, don't use these frameworks. These frameworks are built when to create some complex workflows, to create like agents, right? If you want to create some agent, then you have to do a lot of things. You have to integrate a lot of things. In those cases, we actually go for LLM frameworks. Okay, where our use case is a bit complex. It's not very straightforward, just to and fro message with the LLM. Then I will not go with the frameworks. So what it does, it gives a simplified development, API agnostic design. As I said, we can plug in a lot of things without much changes, complex workflows, enhanced capabilities, community and support. Okay, although they are all companies which have been launched after the ChatGPT. These are startups which were established in 2021 or 22, but still they have a very good community. There are a lot of people who contribute to the LangChain and Llama Index. So you will always get help on that if you are stuck somewhere. And there are applications which are today running in the production as well using these LangChains. Okay, so they have matured enough in the last 2-3 years. Community and support more than simple LLM costs. So this I was emphasizing because if you are using some chain of thoughts, some LLM interactions with the third-party tools, some agentic workflows is what you are building, go for these frameworks. Okay, so in coming classes, we will learn about LangChains heavily because this is one of the most famous framework used in the industry. We will see how to install LangChain and how to work inside the LangChain to create chains, basically how to create a prompt and how to integrate prompt with your model. Once you get the response from the model, maybe you need to parse it, right, in a certain fashion. You want some structured output. not just like a simple language. Maybe you have another process downstream. So you have to give output from LLM into another component. So how these things will work as a pipeline or as a workflow, that we will see when we will study these frameworks. Making sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So I will share the codes. I think coding we have not done much, but you should definitely go to whatever content it is, go to these different websites, go to chat gpt, go to claude gpt, claude chat or lee chat or whatever, and familiarize yourself. Perplexity is, very good website where you can basically do the Google search, plus it will summarize whatever it has found on the web, and it will give you one well framed answer. So I used this couple of days back. There is a company called Trent. You have heard about Trent? Tata Trent.
Clothes and all.
Yes, yes. So I think that what is the name, exact name of that Tata?
Judio, I think.
Judio,
Judio.
exactly, Judio. So its, I mean, results were out, and I saw its stock is 6 or 7% down. So I was curious to know why this stock is down after the result. So I just downloaded my quarterly results for Trent, and I gave it to this particular Perplexity. I just asked him the question why the Trent stock is down. So since this is having access to the internet, right, it will search the entire web, and it will see what is the reaction on, maybe on different money control or on different websites, and it will give me some response. Okay, this is because their result has been announced, and their profit, their margin, it has reduced or increased, whatever. It can do real-time analysis basically, instead of going to the entire quarterly results in a tabular format, which is a tedious job for me. I simply ask a question to the Perplexity, it searches the web, give me the answer. Okay, so yeah, I mean, just try to, explore the things on the internet. You have to, if you want to learn, you have to, do a lot of things at your own level as well. Sounds good. Do we have time to go through that model? Let me see. Okay, let me quickly show you. If you guys are not, the guys from US are not feeling sleepy, I can tell you a bit about models.
Yeah, I can stay another 10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me share my screen again. So I collected a lot of content last week. So which one we can do is, so I was talking about that this machine learning basically has two type of, problems. One is the supervised and other is unsupervised. In supervised, again, we have two categories. Okay, let me open the PDF. Okay, in the supervised, we have regression and we have classification. In case of regression, we create with the output is a numerical value. And in classification, we have class, basically spam or not a spam kind of thing. So I have, this is a, so when we train a model, we should have some data, right? Let me show you the spam one. This is my data. Okay, since this is a supervised learning, I have this is my input feature. What are features? The different attributes I have. For example, in that, or maybe let me show you first the Boston. Okay, so this is same housing problem which we talked about. This is the name of the town, and this is some year, I think. Okay, this is longitude and latitude. This is my location of my house basically. And there are different attributes basically, right? The what is the age of the house, and what are the different. So what you can do is you can simply take this data and I can go to we can go to ChatGPT. Use lot of ChatGPTs to do your daily task. Okay, there are a lot of use cases. So if I don't know about these headers, I can simply ask ChatGPT, tell me about these headers. It will say the first column is town, the name of the town, tract, a unique identifier for the specific census tract in the town, LON, the longitude of the tract's location, latitude, median value of occupied homes, median value of owner occupied homes, $1,000 per capita, all these things. So these are what? These are the different columns, proportion of the, these are the columns which define my price of my house. Okay. On which my price of the house depends basically. So these are called as the features. These are called as independent variables. And what is my dependent variable? The price of my house. So in case of supervised learning, I have all the features on which my price depends. They are called independent variables, and dependent variable is my price of the house itself. So in supervised learning, I will give both the variables, the dependent and independent variables both. And I give lot of data to my machine learning model, and then it will be able to understand, okay, this is how the longitude and latitude is altering my price of the house. So it will be able to, understand the trend of the data, how the price of the house is impacted by different attributes. Okay.
Surendra, one query.
Mm-hmm.
In this ChatGPT or other the DeepSeek, other apps and all, if we place our data, say for example, we placed some data, right? Copy paste. So is there any like way to manipulate by those tools or platforms? No, right? Manipulation in the sense, see, for example, this is my personal data. I'm
So
here and just hitting. So
ChatGPT uses your data actually.
yes, then
it's not secured.
It's not secure, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So these are my columns. Now what I will do is, now the question is how to train it, right? Train my model. What I will do, I will open my this thing. Okay, so what I need to do is, first of all, I need to use different libraries in order to train my model. Okay, so I have used NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib for data visualization to create those plots, and I will use Seaborn. Seaborn is the main library which will help me to Seaborn. Okay, Seaborn is also for data visualization to see the pattern in the data. Okay, so first step is to install all these libraries, and then what I will do is I have to upload my data, right? So I will take my Boston CSV, I upload it in the Google Colab, and then I will use panda.read CSV. What it will do, it will read this CSV file which I have browsed. This is basically data frame. Now my output is a data frame in a tabular format, basically, you can understand. So if I say data frame.head, it will tell me what are the different columns of my data frame. Okay, so whatever information I had in my CSV is now stored in an object called df, data frame. .head command will help me to see the top few rows. Okay, now I can plot a couple of graphs to see how my data is, what is the pattern in my data, right? Before actually using the machine model, you have to do something called as the EDA, exploratory data analysis. You have to analyze your data first. Okay. So this is basically a scatter plot. It will show me the latitude and the longitude, how these two features are actually impacting my MEDV. This is my dependent variable. Okay, so it will use the color basically. If it is 8, it's light in color. If its value is 48, it's dark in color. Okay, higher the price, darker is the color. So I can see based on my longitude and this one, this is the area, right, where the price of house is high. And these are the areas where the price of house is less. Okay, but this is just to visualize the data. Okay. So what I will do is I will use, by looking at the different charts, what I can decide is, okay, maybe this variable is not impacting too much to the cost of the house. So I can remove those columns. For example, here I have taken in my X, I have dropped all these columns. Okay. And in my Y variable, I have just taken the price of my house. Are you getting? Out of all these columns, what I have done, I have dropped these 3 columns because they are not of any use. Okay, so I will drop these 3 columns, whereas in X, the rest of the columns will be there, right? And Y is my MEDV, which is the price of my house. Is it making sense, guys? This X will have a data of all my input variables, all my independent variables, and Y is having my dependent, my price. These are the attributes. For this one row, my price of my house is this much. For my second row, the price of my house will be second row in my Y, like that. So I have segregated dependent and independent variables. ठीक है? देखो अभी आपको ज्यादा समझ में नहीं आएगा because this in itself is a subject, right? It's a 6-month subject, learning machine learning. I'm just giving you a very brief idea. Okay, once I have my X and Y variables, I will use this scikit-learn, which is another library to do all testing and all. So my input data, I will split it into 2 different parts. My test data will be 20% and 80% will be my training data. Okay? Out of my 100 rows, let's say I will use 80 rows for training my model and 20 I have kept for testing. So I will not train my model on those 20 rows. I have kept them aside. Don't use them. I will use that for testing my model. Once my model will be trained, I use that 20% of the data to test how it is performing, whether it is able to judge the prices of house correctly or not. Okay, so this is a library which is used mostly. Scikit-learn, this is called as scikit-learn. Model selection, import, I have used train test split function. Okay, now I have 2 sets of data. One is the training X, and training Y. Similarly, training test and Y test. Okay. Now I will use linear regression. Linear regression is my algorithm. Okay. So in order to use linear regression, this is an algorithm which I will use. So scikit-learn dot linear model import linear regression, and I have created one instance. So this is my linear regression algorithm, and I will fit my data. When I say what I have done is I have created one instance of linear regression and I am fitting my data. I am training my data basically. What I will give X and Y. Okay. So, and what it will do once my model is trained. So this is what the training is. I have fit my data. I have trained my model. This is my linear regression model. Now with my model, what I can do is I can predict my X text. The test is what I have kept aside for testing my model, right? So once my model is being trained, I will say if I give the X text, what is my output? So this is my output. It will create the output for all the 20% of the rows which are there in the X test to create my predictions. So if I print those predictions, this is my output. And in order to test whether how accurate my model is, it will say there are different matrices to judge the performance, how good my model is. It will say root mean square error is 40, and my R2 is 64%. Again, these are different matrices. For different linear regression models, we use something else. For classification models, we use confusion matrix. And if I run this one, this will say my training accuracy is 67% and my test accuracy is 64%. Okay. So now you have seen in very short how to train a model. I have taken this linear regression algorithm. I took my data. I segregated into two different parts. I split my data into testing and training data. With the training data, I trained my model. And once it is being trained, I am predicting the values of X test and it will produce the prediction values. These are the predicted values and I also have the actual values, right? Actual price of my house, and these are the predicted price of my house. So I will compare those two to see how many of them are correctly judged. So if I do that, when I do LR model score, tell me the score of my model. What is my performance? What is the accuracy? It will say 67% is your accuracy on the training data. And this test accuracy is more important. Sometimes maybe if I train more, I will get training accuracy of 99%, but that is not important. Important is how your model is performing on the data which it has not seen or on which it is not trained. If I give test data, it is giving me 64% of accuracy. Okay. कुछ समझ में आया या?
Yes.
Okay. Similarly, just like I use linear regression, I can use decision trees. All I need to do is I need from scikit-learn, I need to select linear regressor, decision tree regressor. And so this will give me all the models, right? So I just need to change my import statement. Once I have decision tree, I will run this one. I can, there are a lot of things actually, which we can do. Okay. So decision tree has a different approach. Okay. It was showing, right? So it creates a tree-like structure, okay? It split your data and it calculates some errors and they have some different mechanism basically. So like that, you can actually, and then you can see which feature is more important, which is affecting your price of the house. So by doing that kind of testing, it says RM is the feature which is impacting the price of the house by this much. This is the contribution of the RM. What is NOx? NOx has this much contribution on the price, right? So this is how you can see which feature is impacting my price of my house. Okay. These are XGBoost and these are different algorithms basically. Okay. Making sense? कुछ idea आया आपको?
Surendra, one query. Yeah, this is the tool, online tool you were using for analyzing your data, correct? Okay, so I have data, like I have output, and I'm just understanding what is the data belongs to. So you just came and uploaded into this tool, and the tool, this Python code has come. The tool generated code, or like is it like how it has come? The code here.
This code I have written now. In order to execute this code, I used Google Colab, which is an environment for you basically, where is Python and everything is installed.
Okay, you have code and you have the data, both.
Yes. I uploaded my data to Google Colab and I already written this code. When you work in your for your project, what you need to do is you need to write all these things yourself and you have to analyze your own data. You have to decide which algorithm has to be used. You have to train your model. You have to see what is its accuracy. And if you want to use some other algorithms, you have to switch back to something else and that iteration goes and goes. I showed you that life cycle, right, of how to execute such projects.
Okay. And this is a custom, custom
library. I mean, these are different libraries which you can use. Scikit-learn is a library, Python library, which help you to train your models on different algorithms, your decision tree, XGBoost, and different type of. That code is already being written in the library. All you need to do is just use those libraries and then train your model basically.
Okay, and my query is here. I have data and I have OpenAI or the DeepSeek tools are there. Maybe they are also on top of the LLM, so right? So
Right.
if I paste my data, like, will they give the similar kind of
No. So, I mean, as I said, machine learning is a bit different than your ChatGPT and all, right? So right now I'm training my model just like they trained their LLMs on some data from the internet, right? Large, huge corpus of data that trained, and then LLM is now trained. But when you talk about these machine learning models, you are actually training with your own data. Okay, your LLM cannot tell me the price of the house. Maybe it can give you, if you have records like 200 rows, right? You can give the entire 200 rows to your LLM, and you can ask the questions on top of it. But for your real life, I mean, problems, you have data like 200 million rows. So
correct.
those many you cannot give to, I mean, ChatGPT, right? You cannot give 2 million rows to ChatGPT. That's where we use conventional approach, where we train our model on the data, on the features, and let it get trained, and then it will be able to tell us the predictions. Okay, so LLM is mostly used for unstructured data, not for the structured kind of thing, .csv files and all. For that, we still go for these traditional approaches of training our own model. Okay.
There's one thing, the array is like a vector or something.
Sorry?
The array, the array which is
Array.
shown, right? The array of the
This
result.
one.
Is this a vector or what it is?
Yeah. I mean, this is an array. Since we
Uh-huh.
had couple of records, right? Let's say we have 200 test records in this X, I mean, data frame, then it will give those many results also, right? For the first X text, first row, I mean, just think from that the housing problem. The first test row was having some data of a house. Maybe that was in Delhi. Maybe it has 3 floors or 1 bathroom, 1 kitchen, and things like that. So of that particular row, what is my price? This is my price of my first row. This is price of my second row. So this test is having multiple rows, multiple data. So it is
Okay.
giving corresponding result. I
Okay.
also
I
have
thought.
I also have the actual result, right? I actually know the price of these houses in actual also, right? Because I have this input data. है ना, जो CSV में मैंने आपको data दिखाया था, right? So it has all the data. This only
Yes.
I have split it into 2 parts. So for all the data, I have the actual value of MEDV. And for the test data, I have calculated from the model also. So I will compare the values created by model with the actual values to see how accurate it is basically. On behalf of that, it will tell me your test accuracy is 64%. Okay.
Okay.
And this is an
Got
online
it.
editor, Surendra, one query. So since it is an online editor, so line by line it is giving like what you have written and
Yes.
output on that. So when you are executing through the PyCharm else the CSV code, what is the like output?
So this is another beauty of this IPYNB. This is the format of the notebook where you can execute cell by cell because it helps us to explain you, right? I can run it again. If I use .py, I need to run the entire file again and again, right from the first line till the last line.
But
This
how can we
is,
execute this IPYNB in PyCharm? Can we execute?
I'm not sure about the PyCharm, but in the
No,
VS Code, you
actually,
can do it.
in that kind of thing, Surendra, I think we have to just update some code in a one page. As you said, in one time it's execute all the code, not line by line in VS Code and
Correct.
PyCharm. Yeah.
No. In VS Code, you can do just give the extension as IPYNB. Then in the VS Code also, you will be able to execute line by line. It will
Okay,
install
thank
some extension and it will help you to run line by line also.
Okay, I'm seeing the first time, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's good area. Okay,
Okay.
but
One thing. So
I'm sorry. One query. So the graphics graphs you showed in the below, right? So will they come in CSV code if you run it?
Sorry.
Will they appear in a output section? So if I run IBYNB file.
Okay. So will that come in the VS Code? Not very much sure. Maybe you need to install some extension for that.
Okay, but as of now, this tool is a Colab is a like the online editor where we can just execute.
Yes.
But it is not a open.
No,
Open.
it's a open source. Okay. It's open source. It's free of cost. You can just use it.
Same like a Jupyter notebook.
I mean the only demerit is once you terminate your session, you again need to upload your Boston and you need to execute from the beginning, right? Its session will terminate in some time if you don't perform any activity. Because a lot of people are using Google Colab, right? So they need to maintain the total number of sessions. So if you're idle for some time, 30-40 minutes, it will terminate your session. Okay, but for practice and all, I think this is one of the standard way of doing the things.
And downloading.
Downloading, yeah. I mean, whatever the code you write, you can download it.
Output also, I'm saying the graphs and all we got it right in the right side section.
Output. If I save this py file, this IPY py file, and open the next time, it will save my output as well.
Okay. Got it. Yes. Thanks.
Okay,
quick question. So for the virtual part you said, so for that we will be installing Docker or something, or how we will do it?
Just give me a second. Actually, someone is at my door. Just give me a second, please. Yeah, guys, I need to wrap this up. Okay, I will take rest of the questions in the next class. Is that fine?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Please upload that video and PPT if you can.
Yeah, sure. I will not be able to upload the PPTs for any of the classes because I have collected this content from different, sometime I have taken some screenshots from Microsoft PPTs. So they have actually copyrights. So you can go through the video actually. Okay. So I don't want to get into some copyright issue. Okay.
You can share this code as well, right?
Yeah, code I will share.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks everyone for joining. See you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.